Yes, we have yet more breaking news to what's been happening over the last 48 hours, the launch and utter collapse of the European Super League. The Glazer family have now apologised to the Manchester United fans, saying that they got it wrong when joining the European Super League. Let's cross live to James Cooper at Old Trafford. It's an open letter, James. What have you made of it?
Well, it's also an apology from me because I didn't see this coming at all. This is entirely surprising and quite a staggering departure when you think of how the Glazers have behaved since coming to the football club in 2005. This is proper communication with Manchester United fans. Whether it'll make a difference or not, I'm not sure, but certainly it is an olive branch after an unprecedented sort of 3 days for Manchester United, for the other 5 clubs and for the rest of, I guess, world football. But in terms of what Joel Glazer said, he said sorry more than once, and I'll just give you a few key paragraphs from quite a lengthy statement from the Manchester United owner, and he talks about the fans making clear their opposition to the European Super League, and we've listened to it. We got it wrong. We want to show that we can put things right. Although the wounds are raw, and I understand it will take time for the scars to heal, I'm personally committed to rebuilding trust with our fans and learning from the message you deliver with such conviction. We continue to believe that European football needs to become more sustainable throughout the pyramid for the long term. However, we fully accept that the Super League was not the right way to go about it. In seeking to create a more stable foundation for the game, we failed to show enough respect for its deep-rooted traditions, promotion, relegation and the pyramid, and for that we are sorry. This is the world's greatest football club, and we apologise unreservedly for the unrest caused during these past few days. It is important for us to put that right. Interestingly enough, he goes on to talk about fostering better communication between Manchester United and the supporter base. He uses the word trust more than once, and I guess for many people, perhaps it's come a bit late. We've seen apologies, we've seen statements from other clubs. But as I said, those clubs maybe have different relationships with their fan base. Manchester United's owners don't readily talk to their supporters, and I think this is unprecedented. It is quite staggering. As I say, you asked me the question earlier this morning whether I expected any response whatsoever. I thought we could avoid a void of silence, people sitting on their hands, and I guess perhaps Manchester United's owners deserve some credit for at least offering some sort of olive branch, some sort of perspective from the way they've gone about things, but more importantly, saying sorry and apologising for the last 3 days.
James, earlier on we spoke to Andy Mitten from United We Stand here on Sky Sports News, and he concurred that the relationship between the supporters and the Glazers from the very moment they stepped foot inside Old Trafford was frayed and fraying further. Is there the possibility here? I know you said that maybe it comes too late for some supporters, but from the mess of this, the phoenix that does rise from the flames is at least a little bit of communication, of openness, of transparency, that can at least be improved between ownership and fan base. Give us a little bit more context, if you will, on how that situation looks right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that, and I talked about John Henry a little bit earlier, and I think they have a very different form of communicating at Liverpool Football Club than they do at Manchester United Football Club. So I don't think I was that surprised that John Henry came out with a message like that. Now, I wasn't expecting the Glazers to do that. I certainly wasn't expecting the Glazers to do anything like this, bearing in mind, of course, the only time they've kind of popped their heads above the parapets officially was on the day they came to Old Trafford back in 2005 with an interview with the in-house media here talking about taking over the club. After that, we've seen nothing. We've had few answers. And although there has been a willingness, I think, over recent seasons to communicate better with fans, certainly on the part of Ed Woodward, the Executive Vice Chairman, who we know is leaving the club at the end of the year, I think this maybe is that line in the sand, that marker you've talked about. It's whether things have gone too far. And interestingly, I was asked a little bit earlier whether the relationship was broken. I don't think really there's ever been a relationship between Manchester United supporters and Manchester United's owners. Yeah, a lot of money's been poured in, a lot of players have arrived and gone, and they haven't had the success they were hoping for. No Premier League title since 2013. And watching the likes of Manchester City carve everything up and Liverpool come back to the ascendancy. So maybe they've timed it just right. I think certainly, it's a more fulsome apology than I even expected. Certainly the statement last night, I think a few fans were annoyed that it was just so brief. There was no contrition whatsoever. This is very different. This is a pledge to get things right, to do things right, and to really make amends and communicate and use those words that I think Manchester United fans were looking for. I think the key question is whether they've had enough of what they've already had, and whether now they've found their teeth in this protest, they've changed things round, and whether they're hankering for more change than we've already seen in the last 3 days.
Or is this a point of inflection? Is this maybe potentially the start of something brighter? We will have to wait and see. James, as always, thank you ever so much.